What is good, everybody? It is your boy Cab back with another Xenoverse 2 DLC 17 video for you guys. We are here with another skill test, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Restrained version of Super Saiyan and comparing it to Super Saiyan 3. Now, some people may be like, well, wouldn't Super Saiyan Blue or Blue Evolution, since those are like the best Awokens in the game, be a bit of a better comparison? And in some regards, I can understand that, but at the same time, tell me you have not always wondered what the actual difference between Brolys' version of Super Saiyan was and other levels of regular Super Saiyan were in the actual anime. Like, what would the difference be between Super Saiyan 3 and Brolys' form? How much stronger potentially could Brolys' form actually be? And now I know we only have the Restrained version, but it's still a very interesting concept that we can kind of take a look at in Xenoverse 2. Now, obviously, it's still not like the canon version. Like, for example, if Brolys' Restrained version was stronger than Super Saiyan 3 in this video, or if Super Saiyan 3 was stronger than Brolys' Restrained version, it's not by any means like the canon version, but it's always been an interesting thought, and it's something we can at least take a look at in this game right here. Now, when it comes to Brolys' Awoken skill, we're gonna have to restart quite a bit, because his Awoken, literally the only way to actually have him like deactivate this Awoken is with remote serious bomb. As you see, you can literally not unlock his Awoken skill once you actually go into it. So again, the only way to do that is with remote serious bomb. Obviously, we don't have that on with Trunks, so we're just going to be restarting a lot through this to actually see the differences between Super Saiyan and his base form. Now, with that being said, there's also one other thing to take into account when it comes to this man Broly. He has a Super Soul that works with Awoken skills, and what this Super Soul does is give a 20% increase to all of his attacks with that Awoken. So what we're going to do is kind of take away 20% of the increased value when we actually do transform, because that is a Super Soul that, for example, Super Saiyan 3 could use at the same time and also get that 20% increase. So it's not like actually part of the Awoken in a sense, it's just a Super Soul that goes along with all Awoken skills in this game. So for example, if he had a 30 or 35% increase on his basic attacks, right, we would consider it to be a 10 or 15% increase, because again, that Super Soul is giving him a 20% boost when you actually do transform. So with that being said, let's get it started, my boys, and first starting out with the basic attacks and going in with his all heavy combo, because another thing about Broly, when he does transform, some of his combos actually do change. His light combo, for example, his all light does actually change and become much better and longer in the Restrained form as opposed to the base form. So that is something else to take into account with this Awoken. It does have basic attack changes and actual move changes at the same time. But with that being said, when we're just looking at regular percent values, let's take a look, and we're going to transform again. 4098 right there with the basic form. Now we're in the transform Restrained state, right? And this time around, we're getting 5,124 damage. Now, this right here is an actual 25% overall increase, but again, we're taking away 20% due to the Super Soul. So in reality, the Awoken itself is giving a 5% increase to your basic damage when it comes to Broly. Now, moving on to the key-based attacks, we're going to be using Gigantic Meteor, because I believe Eraser Bomb for sure acts differently in his Super Saiyan form. I don't know for exact fact whether Gigantic Cluster does or not, but the one that I know for sure does not change at all is Gigantic Meteor in terms of how the skill actually acts, because now we're going to use it in his base form, and we're getting 15,486. And that's one thing about Broly overall, is he's just an absolute like key base move kind of powerhouse. Like, the damage he gets from key base moves is literally like on CAC levels when you just look at the actual damage numbers themselves. Now, in his Super Saiyan form, he's getting a total damage of, let's see it, we get 20,906 damage, my boys, which is a 35% increase, but again, we're taking away 20% So in reality, it's a 15% increase that the Awoken itself, without the Super Soul, is giving this man on those skills. So now let's restart again, get back to the base form, and now we're going to test his one and only strike skill, which is Gigantic Charge. Now Gigantic Charge, obviously we're just going to use it without any like charge up or anything like that, just in its weakest form, because it doesn't really matter. We're just trying to get it out as quick as possible, and we're getting 2,656 damage in his base form. Now in his Restrained form, his Restrained Super Saiyan, we are now getting a total damage of 3,320, which again is a 25% increase, but like I said before, we're taking away the 20% due to the Super Soul, so that's overall a 5% increase. So on his damage, he's looking at a 5% basic increase, 15% key base increase, and a 5% strike base increase. But again, he also does have some unique properties to his Super Saiyan form, like for example, his combos becoming much more devastating. Like you get many more hits when you're in this version of Broly than you do in your base form. For example, that's the all light combo right there, right? We got 12 hits on the all light combo when we're in that version of him with his Super Saiyan, right? And now we're going to do the same exact combo in his base form, and I believe it's just 9 hits. Yeah, 9 hits right there. So that's a difference of 3 hits, which adds up to a lot more damage in his Super Saiyan form as opposed to his base. Another thing that changes, for example, Eraser Bomb. Eraser Bomb, very just simplistic move, you know, in his base form, right? But then once we transform, it becomes much better without a doubt. Like, look at the difference in Eraser Bomb now that we are transformed as opposed to before. You can see a much bigger explosion and just crazy effects going on as opposed to the base form, and the damage increase is more than double, and that is just due to the move becoming that much better in this form. So even though in terms of just base stat increases, right, he's only looking at 5, 15, and 5%, when it comes to his damage increases, he also gets more damage from differences in his combos and differences in his move changes at the same time, like Eraser Bomb, for example. And then obviously with every Awoken in the game, once you use an Awoken, you gain access to Gigantic Explosion, which he does not have in his base form at all. And on him, he just does, I mean, massive, again, that is literally CAC numbers of damage right there with 23,231 damage. Now with that being said, we're going to take a look at the other things that we usually do when it comes to Awokens, and that's your stamina and your ki, my boys. How much ki are you gaining? How much stamina are you gaining? Is it the same? Is it slower? Is it more? All things like that. So let's start out with the actual ki. So we're going to get him down all the way to 0 ki essentially. Let's use that real quick and then throw out 2 Eraser Bombs. Alright, now that we've thrown out 2 Eraser Bombs, let's just do an all light combo right here. Oh wait, I just realized my ki went up insane. That's because I didn't set it back to normal. Let's set that back to normal. And now, let's do the exact same thing. Honestly, we don't even have to throw out the Eraser Bombs because he's not going to get all the way down to 0 ki. He's going to be at like 0.2 of a bar. So we can just use it and see what the difference is from now till the actual, like, what's it called? Till he actually transforms. Now, one thing about this, though, that you have to keep in mind is his Super Soul actually restrains him from gaining ki like he would in his Super Saiyan form, because what the Super Soul does is give a negative 20 or 25% decrease to the amount of ki you restore, but that also comes back when you transform into Super Saiyan. So if the numbers are fairly similar or the gain is fairly similar, we're only going to go to 9 right here, and we're going to do the same. Actually, we're at 3 bars exactly. So let's just do the all heavy combo, which is the same on both the Restrained version and the base version, right? So we almost gain a bar of ki right there when we're in the base form. So now when we transform, again, we still basically have the same amount of ki. Now, this time around, we are actually gaining a little bit more than a bar of ki. So if anything, I would say that the ki restoration is the same, if not a little better, when he's in this version of Super Saiyan. But again, we can't really know for 100% sure because of how his Super Soul actually works. Because when his Super Soul, when he's not transformed, he's getting a negative 25% to his ki restored. But when he does transform with this Super Soul on, that goes back to normal, and this is most likely what he would be gaining without that Super Soul in his base form. So again, it's most likely the same, if not just a little bit better, but he also does gain 6 bars of ki when he does transform at the same time. Now, with that being said, let's take a look at his stamina. I have that set to normal, right? Let's take a look at stamina really quick, my boys. Now, stamina, we're just going to be on the ground chilling, and you see the stamina recovery is just like a normal stamina recovery that you would actually expect. So now when we hit restart, we see it's essentially still the same thing in his base form. So his stamina recovery is not affected at all by this form right here. So overall, what you're really looking at with this form is a 5% increase to your basic, a 15% increase to your key base skills, 5% increase to your strike base skills. Your stamina is going to be the same. Your ki is either the same or slightly increased, but at the same time you're gaining an additional 6 bars as well with this form right here. And then also the differences in his moves. For example, the differences in damage that he gets with certain moves, and then also the differences in damage he gets with his combos. And then of course, like I mentioned yesterday in yesterday's video, Rising Rage also does act differently as well, in the sense that it gets a hitbox and then also can deflect certain key attacks based on the timing. So again, there are a lot of differences that also come with this man's form when you actually do transform. Again, the move changes, the combo changes, all things like that make him that much better in Super Saiyan. And even though his damage increases aren't the craziest, just if you're looking at, you know, from one skill to the next that does not get affected, when you look at skills that do get affected, the damage increase is insane. And same when it comes to his actual combos at the same time, because I believe this all light combo, for example, in his base form it was doing like 2600-2700, right? Now in this form we're looking at almost what, 5878, and that is just because the additional 3 extra attacks that you're gaining, the 3 extra inputs that you're gaining on this light combo in this form as opposed to his base, just make it that much better overall. Now when it comes to Super Saiyan 3, we're honestly not gonna be really like showcasing it like we just did for Brolys Super Saiyan form, because, well, let's be honest, we've showcased that skill many times in these skill tests in the past. So what we're going to do is just a quick refresher and put up on the screen what the actual values are in terms of increases, decreases, things along those lines, right? So with Super Saiyan 3, you're looking at a basic increase of 20%, a ki base increase of 10%, and a strike base increase of 20% to your damage. Now your stamina is going to be the same, but your ki is going to make a major decrease. Like, you're literally not gaining ki at all when you are in that form. Now one other thing about Super Saiyan 3 is that you get a defensive increase. I don't remember the exact value, that's why you just see 5 to 10% on this graphic right here. Again, I don't remember the exact value that you actually gain in terms of your defensive boost, but I do know you get a defensive boost with that form. So overall, between these two forms, which would I say is actually better? I would say that probably Broly's version of Super Saiyan is better, and here's why. Again, he gets major changes to his skills. Like I said, Eraser Bomb is looking at an over 100% damage increase from his base form when you use it like that right there. His combos are looking at over 100% damage increase when you use certain ones like this. Like, certain combos have bigger increases than others, but again, this is over 100% damage increase in his light combo alone, and that is just due to how he actually changes in this form and in terms of how he plays and works as opposed to his base form. So even though the base stat increases aren't the craziest for this man, the actual other things that increase his damage make it that much better of an Awoken, in my opinion, than Super Saiyan 3. And you're also not hindered by that major ki decrease that Super Saiyan 3 gets when you're in this form at the same time. So for those reasons, I would definitely say that Broly's version of Super Saiyan in Xenoverse 2 at the very least is the better Awoken between these two right here, without a doubt, and honestly could be competing with some of the best Awokens in the game just due to how it actually works. Like how the damage increases are with certain combos and certain moves and things along those lines just make him that much better of a character overall, in my opinion, at the very least. But let me know what you guys think about this down below in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on Broly overall as a character as well, because I think he's one of the coolest and like just unique characters in a sense, and how his Awoken changes so many things. I really love how his model works, and then at the same time, I mean, let's be honest, he has the dopest, and I mean the dopest, Awoken animation in the game. It is not even close when it comes to his animation right there, my boys. It is without a doubt the best we have seen on Xenoverse 2. So again, let me know your thoughts on these two Awokens and which you think is better down below. But till next time, my boys, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and as always, hope you have a good one. Hey, y'all.